All right. A very good morning, good evening to all of you. A very warm welcome to Mentor Baba. So in today's masterclass, we're gonna discuss about artificial intelligence. We'll talk about machine learning, and then we'll get into generative AI, LLM. And we'll learn about a little bit about agentic AI, co-pilots, and then we'll also see like how does AI career roadmap looks like in 2025. And in at last, if you have any more questions, anything about how would you want to take up your journey or anything about AI, ML, feel free to ask, and I would be happy to help. All right. So everyone in the industry is talking about AI. All right. And I would like to know from you, like, what has been changed? AI is not something new. It has been there for years. What do you think? What has been changed in last couple of years so that the whole industry is running behind AI? Any one of you?
Introduction of LLMs has been a game changer, really. So once the OpenAI came with this, its model and its systems, the game has totally changed.
Right. So in short, it's generative AI, right? Whatever we had was traditional AI, was using you're being used for prediction or some little bit task. But now with the advantage of deep learning and all, now we have generative AI, which is kind of revolutionary and has completely changed the way people looked at the things nowadays. Okay. And we have a separate section about generative AI, wherein we will talk about generative AI. And here I would like to tell you a little bit of market analysis, okay, from the world leaders who are leading the AI world. So he's Mark Zuckerberg, and he said by 2030, there would be more AI agents in the world than humans. By 2030, that means within next 5 years, the number of AI agent will cross the number of humans in the world, right? Bill Gates says within 10 years, AI will replace many doctors and teachers. Human won't be needed for most of the things. Sundar Pichai says more than a quarter of all new code at Google is generated by AI nowadays. Sam Altman, who is the founder of OpenAI, he said AI will handle 95% what marketers use, agencies, strategists, marketing, and creative professionals for today. Whatever marketing people do, 90%, 95% of the task will be automated and will be done by AI. And Bill Gates also said AI is the first technology that has no limits, right? Technology is still evolving. Within few years, it has shown us a lot of things that nobody have ever witnessed in the industry. All right. It opened up a lot of opportunities, right? Some people are scared of it, but some people are really leveraging it because it is making our life easier. It was never like that before. All right. And I think that is what landed all of us in this discussion today, right? About AI. Everybody wants to know about AI. Everybody wants to learn about AI because they see that this thing is coming and no one can avoid this, right? We have no choice today or later tomorrow. We have to accept it. We have to make it a part of life. How early you want to make it a part of life, this is something completely depends on you. It would be completely your decision. All right. So let's get started with what is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is a software, right, that try to imitate human intelligence, right? Human-like behavior. It enables a system to understand how human communicate into a natural using a natural language. It enables the system to communicate using a natural language, how we are able to identify patterns. It enables a system also to identify patterns, solve problems, make decisions, and perform tasks that typically requires human intelligence, right? Cognitive intelligence. So artificial intelligence is artificially induced. How human get their intelligence? We develop our intelligence with our experiences over the period of time, right? But technology is available nowadays wherein we can induce this intelligence into a machine, and machine can do all those tasks that a human is doing nowadays with much more efficiency, with much more perfection. All right. So artificial intelligence is a discipline and machine learning is a subfield of artificial intelligence. And that's where deep learning comes into the picture, right? Deep learning is a subfield of machine learning. There are a lot of terms here. People are confused nowadays. I'll also try to clarify among all those terms, right? Where exactly those terms fit in. All right. There's new thing called generative AI came into the picture. Some people thinks it is like it is the father of the whole AI or something, but we will talk about it where exactly generative AI fits into the picture. All right, so here I would like to talk about evolution of AI. As I said, AI is not new, all right? It has been there since years. The first system that we have seen with the help of AI was in 1950. Alan Turing, he published a Turing test to assess the intelligence of the machine. All right. In 1960, we have seen a symbolic AI, which was a rule-based engine to solve problems. That this period was also called an AI boom period, wherein people started doing a lot of research in the field of AI. In 1970, we have seen Alisa, a chatbot with cognitive capabilities, our first chatbot, right, paving the way for the virtual assistant. After that, we have seen there was a little bit decline. A lot of funding was cut because the research or experiment were not very successful. But in 1990, it again caught the growth, and we have seen the emergence of rule-based NLP and computer vision systems. Right? We will talk about what is NLP and computer vision. NLP stands for natural language processing. All right. 2010, we have seen deep learning has gained a lot of popularity, right? And this deep learning has paved the way for what we have today in generative AI, right? In 2020, generative AI started getting popularity, the transformer model that it has, and there are a lot of other stuff that played around it. But that's where when 2021, 2022, we have seen ChatGPT within 2 months, 10 million user. Nobody has seen the growth that ChatGPT has shown. And I think today everybody has seen ChatGPT. How does it work? Everyone in the industry was surprised to see that something like this could ever exist. All right. And that's where, shaken the industry, and that's where people started running. It's been just 3 years, and you see everywhere, every industry started automating their workflows with the help of AI. Within 3 years, the growth is exponential, right? The growth is exponential. Within next 3 years, more than 800 plus million jobs would be created in the field of AI, right? And the early adopters of the AI would get the best benefit, right? The early adopters. That means this is the period wherein we need to get started adopting AI and get starting used to this and implement the solutions with the help of AI. So this is how the AI evolved. And I hope now you understand whatever we are seeing today, whatever the talks that are happening nowadays, it is because of the generative AI capability of the system. Now, what is generative AI capability? We will talk, but it is the ability to create new things, right? The create new things. That is where human was coming into the picture. We have our brain. We used to invent things. We were creating new things. Now the machines are able to create new things with much more efficiency than humans, right? That is something surprised the world. So let's move ahead, right? So how AI can help us? AI will help us in making us more productive. Whatever we are doing nowadays, we would be able to do the same stuff with much more speed. It will help us to implement intelligent automations everywhere in the workflows. It is a huge cost saving for the companies, right? The companies who are hiring thousands of people, millions of people, those people, they would be able to reduce, they would be able to cut down with the help of AI. All right. And AI is something can offer personalized services to every individual. They can do the profiling and can offer you what you actually need. Okay. I'll share an example to understand what is this personalized services means. All right. So let's move ahead. What is machine learning? Before I proceed with machine learning, I have an exercise for you all, and I want all of you to participate. All right. You see, there is something on your screen, right? Can you please tell me what is the next number in this series going to be? Fast.
21, 21.
All right. Does everybody
Yeah.
agree with 21? You may use the chat as well, right?
I
So
think it's
21 is the right
21.
answer. Sorry, come again.
Yeah. I think it's 21 only. Yeah.
Right. 21 is the right answer. All right. I have one more exercise for you. Who is this person? Sound
Albert
familiar?
Einstein.
Albert.
Albert Einstein.
Somebody says
Yeah.
Albert Einstein. Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
He is Albert
Albert
Einstein.
Einstein.
Who is that person?
Avatar movie.
A movie character of from Avatar, right? Great. Perfect. I expected that. Now, who is this species? Anyone?
I'm not a Star Wars fan, but
Everyone is blank.
Alien.
Nobody has seen this image before. It's the first time we all are witnessing this. Okay. So you must be thinking, hey, how these things are relevant with the AI. Let me take you 2 slides back. When I asked you this question, right, what is the next series? Did you notice how your brain cracked the pattern? Right, very fast our brain was able to identify a pattern. Okay, we are summing up these previous numbers to get the next numbers, and that's how we added 8 into the 13, and that's how we got the 21. If I ask you the next number, probably very easily you would have been able to tell that next number is going to be this one, right? When I asked this, right, this picture is very famous. Almost everybody has seen Albert Einstein, so we could make it. We have seen this Avatar movie, but nobody has seen this. What happened in our brain? Our brain was clueless, right? So when your brain has seen something, something is known to our brain, we were able to, tell, okay, we were able to label that thing. Okay, this is Albert Einstein, this is a character from the movie. But when our brain was blank, all right, at that time we couldn't know, right? We don't know whether it's a human or it belongs to the raptor or something. We don't know even the category of this species, right? So machine learning, right, or artificial intelligence is based on the very similar concept. The way human brain thinks, we are trying to imitate the same capability into the machines. All right, and the same way we train the machine, like we train our kids, right? Every small things one by one we teach our kids. The same way we train the machine learning models, right? Nowadays we have this technology available wherein machine can learn by itself, like human can learn by itself. We make mistakes and we learn from our mistakes. Even machines are capable now to make mistakes and learn from that mistakes. All right, so this was just an idea behind, because a lot of people think machine learning is something different. It's no different than human intelligence, right? How our human brain thinks, exactly the machine learning thinks. All right. So what is machine learning? It's a technique or process to allow computers to learn from the data so that they can identify patterns, make decisions, they can make predictions without explicitly programmed to do so, right? What is the difference between machine learning models and the computer program, right? Computer programs are hard coded. They are programmed to do so. They will always result the same. If you put something new, they won't be able to do it. But the machine learning model has the capability to learn. If they see some unknown patterns, they will try to derive something from that patterns and will learn for the next time onwards. Right? That was the beauty of the machine learning models. So as I said, predictive AI, traditional AI, and there is a generative AI. So machine learning basically still now was being used for making predictions or for classifying the data or clustering the data, right? So to help us in understanding the machine learning better, we need to understand what's the difference between data, labeled data and unlabeled data. On the screen, you see 2 categories, right? 2 columns. On one column, we have a label data, wherein with every image, there is a name attached to this, right? There's a label attached to this. When you feed this data into your machine learning model, the model will have, okay, this kind of structure, and this is called a cat. So it is a help for the model. So model will be able to derive, okay, this is a picture of the cat. This is the picture of the cat. This is the picture of the dog. This is the picture of the rabbit. So it helps the machine to label, okay, this kind of structure is belongs to this particular category of the animal. But let's keep the label data aside and let's think from the unlabeled data. When you do not have a label attached to your data, how the machine learning model would come to know which category of the animal it is, right? Learning won't be able to know until unless it is trained to identify that pattern. All right. So that's why machine learning is derived into 2 categories, one with the labeled data and one with the unlabeled data. The one with the labeled data, which is called supervised learning, and the one which is trained using the unlabeled data, We call it unsupervised learning because we don't have label. We cannot supervise it, right? When you have a label with your data, it uses supervised machine learning algorithms. And when you do not have a label attached to your data, it is called unsupervised machine learning algorithm, right? And supervised are of two types. One is regression and classification, and unsupervised is of type clustering. And I'll explain that in a layman's terms what exactly this refers to, right? So regression where we predict a label is predicted by the model, which is a numeric value. For example, we capture some data, right? Historic data, like a temperature, and based on that we captured the ice cream sales. So when the temperature was, weather has 52 degrees, it's Fahrenheit, not Celsius, don't get confused. So when the temperature was 52-degree Fahrenheit, the ice cream sale was 0. When it was 67, the ice cream sale was 14. When it was 70, the sale was 23. Likewise, so we captured the data, all right, and we plot the data against the graph. You will get a straight line, right? The straight line function is derived by y equal to f of function of x. So for any value of x, we would be able to derive the value of y, right? It will fall around that straight line. So it's a numeric value, right? Same goes for house prices. Suppose in 2020, the house price was 100K dollars. In 2022, the highest price was $300, $300K dollars. In 2024, the house price was $400K dollars. So what would be the price of the house in 2025? Probably we can know it would be around $500 because we see that pattern and we saw that every year it was increased by 100K. So probably in 2025, this should be the 500K. That is how all the prediction model works, right? Prediction of sales, right? How much sales we are going to make in this particular festival season. All these retail customers, Flipkart, Amazon, all those, they are leveraging these machine learning models to predict their sales, right? In this year, this was the sale, this was the revenue. In this year, we are going to make this one because they are observing all types of behavior. There are a lot of parameters around this, all right? This is regression, wherein the output is a numeric value. In classification, the output is a category, right? Now, if there is only two categories, it would be binary classification. If there are more than two categories, it would be multi-class classification. So what are the examples of binary classification? Suppose you are checking whether a person is diabetic or not. You are checking whether a person has a fever or not, in which you have only two classes, right? Either the person has the fever or he does not have the fever. Either the person is diabetic or he is not diabetic. So based on the glucose levels, we are deciding whether the person is diabetic or not. Now, when you feed this information into a machine learning model, the model will learn, it will identify the pattern. Okay, I see that in this range, if it is more than 100, then it should be diabetic. If it's less than 100 or likewise, machine will derive the function, right, from this data. And with that function, it would be able to predict for the future data. All right. This is a multi-class scenario. Suppose you have a labeled data, you have trained a model with this data, you have given all these images. Now machine knows, and when you give us some random image, it will say, okay, this image looks like a dog. So it will predict the label for that image. If you send this image, okay, as per my learning, this image looks like a cat. So it will predict the label for that image. And this animal looks like a rabbit because the model is trained on these three animals. But tomorrow, if you give an image of a cow and the machine is not trained on that, machine would not be able to identify. The model will not be identify or calculate the label because the machine does not know. We have not trained the machine to know that this is a particular category, that is a cow. But if we train, if we send some images of a cow by telling them, okay, this is a cow picture, like 5 to 10 images, then machine will be trained. And next time onwards, whenever you give a new image of a cow, machine would be able to identify that this image is belongs to the cow. So I hope you understood with supervised machine learning. Now, what is unsupervised machine learning? Clustering is an example wherein we don't have a label, right? So of course, machine learning cannot be used to predict, but it can be used to create the cluster of the data, right? So when you fed data which does not have a label, machine learning model will plot a graph and put the data points with a close proximity who have some similarities. So all the cat images, they would be represented by this cluster. All the dog images would be represented by this cluster. All the rabbit images would be represented by this cluster. So it will help us. How many classes do you have in your data? So even before you train your machine learning model, you want to know how many classes, what is the type of the data that you have. In that analysis, our clustering can help. By clustering the data, they will come to know, okay, I have three classes, I have three types of data. I hope it makes sense, right? We are not going into very detail because this itself is a big subject, right? But on a high level, we understood machine learning categorized as supervised machine learning, unsupervised. Supervised has two types, regression and classification, and then non-supervised, wherein we do not have a label to the data. It is called clustering, right? So these are the techniques which are highly being used in the market to derive the information from the data to train the machine learning model. All right. Now, Azure is one of the platform which has the highest maturity in terms of providing all those services, machine learning models, all those AI services, and I'll walk you through all those services as a part of this today's masterclass. So Azure has a machine learning studio which offers a full capability of training a machine, right? Whether you are a tech person or you are a non-tech person, it offers all the ways wherein you can leverage the data to train the model. It offers the coding way of training the model as well no code way of training the model, right? Just drag and drop and you would be able to train your models. So machine learning studio is something very important that Azure offers to enable the machine learning for our models. All right. So what are the various services? If you are looking forward to a career in artificial intelligence, you would come across these services because they work hand in hand, right? And I'll walk you through, we will talk about these services. Generative AI, agentic AI, AI vision, right? Which is the vision properties, NLP, natural language processing, document intelligence, AI search, knowledge mining, conversational AI. These are the very primary AI services that are working hand in hand, and everywhere whatever the solution you are looking at today, every solution is leveraging one of these services nowadays. All right, and in future I won't be surprised that everything is automated with the help of these services. We will talk about that, right? For example, vision. So what is a computer vision? How does a computer see? They don't have eyes like us, but we have to imitate, artificially induce. So computer sees with the help of cameras, right? Like you can see me with the help of the camera, right? So we can fed images, videos, or cameras. This is the input for a machine or a computer to see things. All right. Now, what is an image? It's a matrix of pixels. Every pixel, small pixel and millions of pixel is making one image. So when you want to derive something out of the image, we have to scan the image pixel by pixel, row by row, all right, to identify the pattern, right? What is there in the image? So we have nowadays models which can help us with image classification, right? You have an image, it can classify whether that image is a bus, whether that's a car, or that's a jeep, or that's a bike. It can detect object in one image. We have bus, car, multiple trees, that the model can scan the image, analyze the image, and can tell you, okay, this image contains a bus. I see a pattern of like a bus, I see a pattern like a car, I see a pattern like some humans or some cyclist, I see a pattern like some trees. Likewise, semantic segmentation, right? I don't know if you have ever driven Tesla, you will see that it has an model which can generate the semantic images, right? When you are driving the self-driving cars, they create, okay, the structure next to me is a tree or a car, those are the coordinates. So they can do that semantic segmentation. Image analysis, it can analyze what are the various objects in the image. So if you see the focus, the primary focus is with a person with a dog on the street, right? It depends. If you want to go in more detail, there are cars or taxis running on the street, there's a building, there are some street lights, there's traffic lights. Those things can also be derived out of the image. If you see, it can help you to detect the faces and identify. It can recognize faces and help you to identify. I have seen a lot of systems where, previously, whenever you are going to a company or somewhere, you swipe your cards, right? Nowadays, technology doesn't need you to swipe your cards, right? They have this cameras that can detect your faces, identify whether you are an employee of the company or not. If you are, the gate will automatically open. If you are not, then gate will not open, right? So you don't need to physically swipe the card at the gate. All right. Then optical character recognition, right? When you take the images of any paper, we had a difficulty in converting that taking out that extracting the text from that image, but now we have the models, we have the technologies which can recognize and extract the text out of the image, any text, and we will do the hands-on also on those aspects in today's session. All right, I'll walk you through all this. So AI vision, computer AI vision, it's a AI service, right? That deals with the vision, that deals with the images, videos, and all those stuff, right? It can analyze image, it can detect objects in an image, it can do OCR, optical character recognition. That means extracting text from the image. We can train our own custom models. If you want to extract a handwritten something which is model is not trained, we can train the model, and so that the model can extract the handwritten text also. All right. Video indexer, it can analyze the video and index the video at multiple levels. You see in YouTube, when you create a video, your video is being analyzed and it will create a chapters. Okay, this topic is being discussed from 2 minutes to 5 seconds. Then from 2.5 to 3, this topic was discussed. It will do an indexing of the video, right? It is done automatically. Nobody does it manually. Spatial analysis, analyzing a space in the shop. It is we are leveraging those cameras which can analyze whether a person is stealing something from the shop, right? From the shoplifters. So we have cameras installed that can check whether the person is stealing something, is it showing some abnormal behavior. So those type of cameras are helping us. Content moderation, we can, of course, everything comes with a risk, so we have to moderate that we do not create harm to the society. This capability is safe enough, so we have some content moderation, so that if there is a image which contains violence or which contains something not normal, then we try to not to generate or not to process within the models. All right, so these are the capabilities. Similarly, face recognition, it is very important capability wherein it checks all those features, right? You may be surprised within a phone. When we look at our phone gets unlocked, right? Even if you have even if you have mask, even if you have specs, your phone gets unlocked. There are a lot of other features, just not the image. There are a lot of other features that are being extracted and then being validated to unlock your phone from your face, right? So these are the features. Every attribute is extracted and compared. Optical character recognition, you see an image, right? You give an image and then machine would be able to extract the content from that image, right? A lot of times we go to the doctor, we have this doctor written pads or a lot of handwritten things, right? Contracts and all those stuff. We had no way to digitize them, but now we can. We can not only extract, but we can also store them into a database as a structured data, right? So that is a good use case. So let's have a look. Enough of theory. Let's try to see like how Azure does the things for us. And Azure offers a very nice thing that I personally love. Right. So here is the Azure Vision Studio, which gives us a lot of stuff to play around. So I hope my screen is visible. Can you please confirm if you can see the Azure screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Great. So there are various examples, and I would like to show you few examples just to understand. All right. For example, OCR, extracting text from images. So I'll show you. We have various images, and I'll show you how does it work and what is the accuracy. Just look at the things, okay? Which image should I choose? You choose, you guide me. Should I choose this ID card? Let's choose ID card. So if I choose ID card, it has a lot of content, and you see the model has processed the image, and we have extracted all those information, what is written, even the small things. So even if you like, even I cannot read with naked eyes, but the machine is able to read and is pretty much accurate, right? Driver license number. So the information now is validated, right? Previously, somebody manually has to validate your ID cards, but now all these ID cards are digitally validated. Once you extract the information, you can validate them against the database, right? So similarly, we have many more. For example, generating captions to the images. What is happening, right? So we analyze the image and we try to know what is this image representing, and we generate the text, right? So, for example, this image, when I give this image, a baseball player holding a bat, right? So it just generated a caption against that image. What is happening, right? If I select this image, it analyzed it and it generated a man holding a surfboard on the rock, right? So we are generating a caption. That means we are describing the image in the form of text. We are analyzing the image, we are identifying what is happening, and we are generating a caption, right? So look at the things. Now we can search even in the images. If you want to know the image of the cow, you give a cow text and it would search that into all the images, which was not possible earlier. But with the help of these models, nowadays it is possible. A group of cows grazing in the field. You see, it described the picture pretty well in just few words. Similarly, we have many other use case. OCR, I have already shown you image analysis. Dense caption can also be generated. Search photos, I was just mentioning about. So if suppose if I want to search the photos from the nature, if I click on this, we can use this to search the nature photos. You see, it has filtered all the nature photos. So we can use images to search similar type of images. And I think in Google, it is pretty obvious. When you search some image, you get a similar kind of images. So that is also possible nowadays with the computer vision service. Spatial analysis is there, wherein we try to analyze the video. See, somebody spilled the liquid on the floor, and that video camera analyzed it and spilled liquid 97%. They are 90% sure that the liquid is spilled on the floor so that the housekeeping can come and clean it. Nobody needs to tell them that, hey, something happened like this. So you see, these are the examples which you can also explore by yourself, right? Towards the end, after this session, I'll share all those links with you, wherein you can also get to explore all these things by yourself. Generating a dense caption means not only one caption, we are trying to describe the image with multiple captions. All right, let's have a look at this. So now the image is analyzed and it generated multiple box, right? It identifies multiple box. And on the right hand side, you can check when you take your mouse, which box we are talking about. A woman wearing a colorful fabric face mask. Do you see the accuracy, the type of details that it can analyze and tell us, right? A close up of a green chair, a person using the laptop. So, what do you think? How a model is able to understand that, okay, this is the person, that's the mask, that's the laptop, that's the table, that's the chair, because the model has trained on those objects, and now model is aware that this particular type of shape, suppose example, this particular shape is a table, right? This particular shape is a laptop, this particular shape is a lady because of the hair and all, right? So it's very interesting when you experience it by yourself. And the same thing when you get to implement by yourself with the help of AI, it's very fascinating and very interesting. All right. So let's go next. I would like to discuss NLP service. So what is NLP? NLP is natural language processing. It is one of the most important service that almost everything that you do, this service is being leveraged. Whether it is generative AI, whether it's your image, whether it's your anything that you do, you cannot do it without natural language processing. You need a way to communicate. All right. And that's why this service is extremely important. And 80% of the business use cases leverage this service to automate their task. Right. And I'll explain you how does that work. So what is NLP? It's a natural language processing enables a machine to understand, to interpret and respond to human understanding languages. Right. Basically, NLP is the one which is responsible for making AI to be able to communicate, right? What was the limitation with the AI things? They were not able to communicate. Now, this human element of communication, of understanding a language, interpreting the meaning, and responding, This capability is also induced nowadays into the machines. Okay, so what it could do, it could analyze a text. If you give a text, it can understand the meaning of the text. It can understand, okay, are there any person, places, entities into that text, right? It can do a sentiment analysis, right? You are going to a restaurant and restaurant has a rating of 4.2. You don't have time to go and read all the reviews, right? So what sentiment analysis can do? Sentiment analysis can go through all the reviews and will give you what is best in that restaurant, what needs to be improved, where does the negative comments are coming from. So whether the overall sentiment of the review is positive, negative, or neutral, this is something sentiment analysis can do. You give it a sentence, it can identify the emotions, right? Machines were missing the emotions, and now with this capability, machine can also show you the emotions, right? Suppose you are talking to Siri or robot and you say, hey, today I'm sad, right? You would see that the machine will respond in the similar way. Understand that you are sad. That means I need to respond in the similar voice, right? This is what giving the machine the human touch. We are trying to induce the human touch into the machines, right? Translation, it we can translate text to the speech, speech to text. We can translate one text to different language, right? Summarization, you have a meeting and you miss that meeting. Now you want to know what has been discussed in that meeting, right? Now, summarization can summarize the summary of your meeting in 6 to 7 bullet points. And even though you miss the meeting, you won't miss any main discussion point. You know all the discussion point and what is the summary of the meeting, what is the outcome of the meeting, even though you did not attend the full 1 hour of meeting, right? Conversational AI, it enables the robots to communicate. Nowadays, if you call banking, human do not pick up the phone, right? They are driven by the robots. They will talk to you, hey, and they will validate your account number, and all these things are done by the robots, right? So this is really taking the world, and this is almost every industry they are going to leverage these services to automate their workflows to make our customers life more better, and of course to save money, right? Humans are expensive. So one of the examples, suppose you have a call with a customer call, like you have some problem in a coffee machine, you called the customer care for some help and all, and you had a 10 minutes call. And now with the summarization skill, the machine can summarize your call in just few lines. And also like what has been recommended. Okay. So you don't have to go through recording of the whole conversation. Isn't it fascinating? It is, of course. So now I would like to take you to the Azure Language Studio, wherein we are going to play with the various text analytic skills. All right. So here is the Language Studio. Previously, we played with the images. Now we will play with the text, right? For example, summarizing text. So here is an example of summarizing information. I have a text, right? I have some samples and I want to summarize this, what has been discussed in this, right? So I'll just run the AI part and here is a summary I get. In 3 points, this summarize the whole paragraph, or the obstructive summary is this one. Even like 3 lines, we summarize the total paragraph of the text. This is what we call summarization, right? Same goes for conversation. Suppose we had a conversation with the customer care executive. That chat is recorded, right? That voice recorded chat we have transcribed into the text, and now we are summarizing it, right? If the customer complaint, we have a complaint, and this is a long call, right? And we summarized it, and now this is a recap of the overall things, and this was the issues that was discussed as a part of this call. So you see how even humans cannot do this that much fast, right? Now you see how fast things are evolving and how are they leveraging these things, right? Let us have a look at other different translation. I think everybody knows what is translation. Doesn't make sense. Maybe extracting information, right? You have a paragraph. wherein you would like to know whether security is very important thing nowadays, right? So you want to know, identify the PIIs, PIS, personal identifying information. We want to identify and mask the PII, right? So when you run this, it will tell you this is the PII information. It is able to identify this is the person name, that's the address. So you see what level of details this information directly you can put into the database, right? You can perform operations onto this. I hope it was making sense, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it makes.
All right. So this is Language Studio, wherein we deal with the text, right? You can detect the language. If you give us some text, it can detect whether that text is in English or it's in Spanish or it's in some different language, right? Analyzing sentiment. There's a line, I bought a size S and it fits perfectly. I found a zipper a little bit difficult to get up and down due to the side rushing. The color and the material are beautiful in person, amazingly comfortable, right? We are trying to mine the opinion. That means we are trying to identify the sentiment of this, right? The sentiment of this is 74% positive, 25% negative. I bought a size and it fit perfectly. That's a positive sentence, right? So for this, it is for 95% positive. Likewise, there are multiple sentences, right? So it is able to identify whether the person is feeling happy or the person is struggling with something, right? Customer complaint. Here is a complaint. You want to know the sentiment of this complaint. It is mixed, right? It is positive also and mixed, some negative also. He said some positive things. He said some little, the whole experience was just awful, and there are some other things. So it can detect a sentiment of the customer uh, complaint. Now you can decide whether if it's 74 and above, that means it's okay. If it is below, then you need to get in touch with the customer and make sure that whatever he's expecting, he gets it sorted out so that customer has a better experiences. So sentiment analysis it's a great service that is being leveraged everywhere nowadays. Okay, so this is Language Studio, wherein we can play with all the language related capabilities. So question answering, we can create bots wherein you can give a knowledge base, right? You can give an FAQ document or you can give a website. Models can go crawl that document, crawl that website, and can generate a knowledge base using which it can do a chit chat with the customer. It can do a communication with the customer and give them the details what it needs, right? For example, today you have a company and you would like to create a chat bot. You give the company website URL. The model will be able to pull out all the information from the website, and the model will have the data. The customer asks some question, all the relevant answer the model would be able to provide, right? Previously, it used to take days. Now it is implementing like within minutes. Conversational language understanding. I know everyone has experience with Google Home and Siri, right? And I know when you have spoken to them, you must have experienced that they are listening to a specific type of input, right? Sometimes, if you say something different, they are not able to make it out and then say, sorry, I don't understand that. Sorry, I don't understand that. If you ask something which is out of their scope, right? That's where that human touch, because human do not behave like this, right? They try to make sense out of your information. So conversational language understanding capability deals with such kind of innovations wherein we just don't hardcode the input and output like how Google Home and Siri, all those things works. They have been hard-coded input and output, but it understand what is the utterance that the customer said, what are the entities, and what is the intent. So when I say switch the fan on, that means fan is an entity and switching on is the intent that the customer is asking to me. Now the model knows the action and the model can go and automate the workflow. It can switch on. When you say switch on the phone, switch on the fan, it can switch on the fan. When you say turn on the light or turn off the light, it can respond, right? And this is very easy example, but there are much more complex things that this is able to do, right? The real world human communication touch nowadays, with the help of CLU, customer language understanding, it is possible, right? And the customer will feel like they are talking to a real human. So on the similar lines, right, we have this speech service, right, which can help us in translating a speech to text or text to speech, right? So speech recognition service, which helps to convert speech to text, and text speech synthesis, which converts text from text to speech. All right. Then we have Speech Studio. What Speech Studio does, right? The same thing. It translates the call. So you can translate a call. You have a call recording from the customer, right? You have a meeting in the office. That meeting is recorded. Now you can use that recording to transcribe it. And once you have that converted into the text, it can summarize it. You can play all with natural language processing things. Right? So these are the some examples of speech to text, text to speech. In YouTube, you see, when somebody uploads a video, previously that video has a limitation that only the language that the speaker has used, only those countries can make out, can leverage that video. Now it is not the case. Now you can transcribe the speech also of the video plus text also. So irrespective where is your viewers are, they would be able to localize the video in their own language and with the subtitles that is in their own language, right? So all these things are being implemented around us and we are living in these things day in and day out. All right, same goes. It offers translator service, which does the translation from text to text to 130 plus languages, right? And speech translation can be done to 90 plus languages. The another service that I want to talk about is Azure AI Document Intelligence, right? That means capability of the machine learning models to process the documents. You have a digital PDF copy. Now we can extract the text out of it, right? You have receipts. You want to extract the receipt ID, date, or invoice order, and also you want to digitize the information. So no need to capture the images and keep the images to showcase. You can put that receipt into the model. The model would be able to digitize that and store the information into the database, right? Your bank statements, your checks. Nowadays, it is possible to encash the check with the phone. You take the phone, capture the image of your check, and bank will encash it because it can identify everything, all the information from the check, right? Credit cards. So there are various models which are helping to process a specific type of documents, right? In US, though, we are seeing everyday text documentation, bank statement, receipts, invoices, credit cards. These all are already automated, right? So this is an example, right? Somebody has a passport, right? So you give that image, and now ex it is able to extract the information, date of birth of the person, date of expiration of the passport, date of issue of the passport, document number, document type, which country it belongs to, right? So there are models. Of course, these models needs to be trained because to capture the data, okay, this particular place specifies the country code, this particular place specifies the passport number, this particular place specifies the name of the person. So model needs to be trained with few examples. And once the model is trained, it can process thousands of the passports or the ID cards for you, right? So training is challenging part little bit in the beginning, but once it is trained, it is go forever. And now it comes to generative AI, which we all were waiting for so long, right? So what is generative AI? In this section, we will discuss what is large language models, what is prompt engineering, right? What are AI agents? What is copilots? So we're gonna touch upon all these topics in this particular section. All right. So what is generative AI? Generative AI is a subset of deep learning. Okay. Artificial intelligence is not a subset of generative AI. It took long time for people to understand where does generative AI fits in. it is a subset of deep learning. That means it leveraged deep learning techniques to process the data, right? Neural networks, human-like intelligence, right? And why it is called generative? Because it has the capability to generate new content. And when I asked in the beginning, what has been changed in the recent years that the whole world is talking about AI, this capability, the generative nature of the models, the large language models, is something that has gained the attention of the whole world, right? This opened up a lot of opportunities for AI, which was never the case in the past. They always has a very limited use case in prediction, classification, and all those stuff. But now they can generate new content, right? I'm sure all of you have experienced Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, right? So they have a large language models. Large language models means they have been trained on huge amount of data. When I say huge, it literally huge. The size of the model itself is very heavy, right? It takes days and months to train that model, to fine tune that model. And now their model is trained, and then we can do the inference based on our input. So nowadays, these models, generative AI models, they can do the text to text generation. That means you ask them some ideas, it can create presentation, content. So a lot of content writing, people who are do the content writing, now we are leveraging these tools to write the content for us. You can ask them to write an email, you can ask them to do whatever you want, right? Then we have specific type of models which can generate images, right? You give it an image, it will generate a new image, right? It can generate code. We have models which can generate code, right? It can generate music. It can generate movies, right? So you see all those aspects which human were doing, but they were whole soul responsible for creating all those things in the world. Nowadays, we have the machines with those capabilities, right? Of course, it is evolving, right? They are at the very basic step, not basic, I would say intermediate step, but with the speed they are progressing is really different. Nobody has seen a technology spreading so fast, right? I have never thought that so many models I would be able to visualize within such a short span of time, right? Even the chat GPT itself, it started with text generation. The first model had the only text generation capability, but now chat GPT 4.0, right? It has multi-modal capabilities. It can generate text, it can generate images, it can generate code, it can generate music, it can generate videos, it can do a lot of stuff. And right, and the beauty is everything is new. It's not like it is just copy pasting something, right? From the learning it had, everything is unique in nature, that was never created in past, right? The image that I showed you in the beginning, that was the image generated by that, right? Which nobody has ever generated, nobody has ever seen this, right? And as I said, to communicate with any model, you need a language. So that's where again NLP comes into the picture. You want to communicate, you need NLP, right? But this models works like it, they have the capability to generate content. You ask them what to do and they will do, provided they should have the data, right? So you can ask them to write your resume, you can ask them to write a cover letter, you can ask them write whatever you want, right? But different person gets different responses, right? And the reason being is your communication skills, right? We will talk about it. So we saw use case of text generation. We can ask them to generate text, right? We can ask them to write emails or some letters. We can ask them to generate images, very nice images. We will see the example. We will generate the image by ourselves. Very colorful, beautiful images it can generate for us, right? Then it can generate code for us, right? I'll show you an example how the copilots can generate. ChatGPT, everybody you would have seen. I will also show you Copilot, which is a ChatGPT equivalent version from Microsoft. All right. So let's explore Copilot. And here I would like to showcase a few things for you. right? So I'm into the Copilot, copilot.microsoft.com. All right. So you can ask the things. You can ask things to write an image, generate something, write an email, or make a plan. Or I would like to go on a trip to Niagara Falls. Can you please help me with the itinerary? All right. So even I would take a lot of time to, do some kind of research and all to come up with, but I have now a structure, right? I have a structure now. I know few stuff, few names where we can go, and now I can plan my trip better, right? It could have been done better, provided that I would have provided complete input. The more input we can provide, the better output it generates. All right. Similarly, I can generate an image uh, of nature with sunrise, cows, trees, rivers. It will try to generate an image for us. All right. So it's a caption, right? Previously, I shown you, right? We had an image and we generate a caption. Now we are giving a caption and it is generating an image out of it. This image has never existed, right? Nobody has ever generated or seen this image. This is the first time this image is generated, and you see the beauty, how beautiful it is, right? Likewise, a lot of things it can generate. Coding, right? Can you please help me to write a Python to-do application, right? So it is going to write the Python code for me to generate a to-do application. All right. We have suppose you have written a code in mainframe and now you have to migrate it to Java. Okay. Can you please help me to migrate the code into Java? Now the same code, it will migrate into Java. So the same code you can generate in any languages, and it's a foolproof code, right? So IT, IT jobs were considered as like very good jobs, very skillful jobs. Now IT is not needed. Developers are not needed anymore. We have tools which can write the code with much faster speed than developers with much more accuracy, right? Of course, somebody is needed to align the code to put here and there, but yes, most of the developers' jobs are at risk now. Right? So I've shown you an example like how can we deal with the text to text, how can we generate images, how can we play with the coding, and a lot. I would advise you go ahead and explore it and do various stuff, right? But the very important thing while dealing with this co-pilots and chat GPT, the very important thing is prompt engineering. All right. Prompt engineering is the way to communicate with the models. We'll talk about it, right? So how can we implement these models by ourselves? Like if we want to implement a solution using these modules, right? How can we leverage these LLMs, or how can we create a solution on ourselves? There are multiple ways we can do this, right? There's one way wherein we would like to train our own models, we would like to deploy in our own infrastructure, right? But you would need the ML engineer skilled people to train the model once the model is trained, and it would cost very heavily, right? Recently, DeepSeek was in talk a lot a month ago, and training one large language models cost around like 5 million to 10 million dollars little bit, so it's not cheap, right? Training your own model is not cheap. The getting the data is very expensive, and of course training, testing, validating, there are a lot of things involved, right? So there is one way wherein we can train our own models, we can generate our own models, and then everything is private, but it has huge infra and training cost. The another way is we leverage foundation models, right? That means somebody has already trained the foundation completely. For example, would you prefer to buy a machine and then teach that machine how to talk, how to do basic stuff? Or would you prefer to buy a machine who knows the basic stuff like how to talk, how to communicate, how to listen, how to respond, right? So foundation models are those pre-trained models which are trained on foundation stuff. They have the generic capability of doing normal task, right? But then you can fine tune. If you want to customize, we can customize it according to our needs. But the beauty is it is much more cheaper to run these models, right? Because generic capability, they already have it. So any of the cloud environment we can take. Azure is like has a lot of models. AWS also has it. Google also providing it, but Azure is a little bit mature in these terms. So we can make API calls to those models. We can deploy them on Azure. We can make API calls and we can get our task done, right? And there are various companies which are providing these models: OpenAI, Hugging Face, Llama, Amazon Titan, same. So there are from uh, Azure has its own models, AWS has its own models, OpenAI has ChatGPT. So we can leverage any of the foundation model which are pre-trained on the basic stuff and get our job done. And if it needs to be fine-tuned, there are various techniques like retrieval augmentation, fine-tuning. They are a little bit advanced concept. We cannot discuss it here, but if you want to know more, we can discuss it further. But these are the advanced concept like vector database, fine-tuning, RAG, which we can leverage to customize the response from our models, right? But this is the way we can implement our solutions with the help by leveraging these large language models and AI solutions, right? So what the various language models? There are large language models and there are small language models, right? So large language models are huge GBs, right? They are trained on billions of parameters, trillions of parameters. Huge size, huge computations, huge infrastructure requirement is required for large language models, and they have capabilities are also of course high because they have been trained on the huge amount of data. Small language models are comparatively small. Right now, you see that there are some intelligence element as being added on the phone. The phone itself has 8 GB RAM and some limited memory, right? So you cannot deploy a large language model into the phone, but you can deploy a small language model into the phone, which is focusing on a specific type of functionality, right? They are very subject focused. They are small in data sets, and they are good enough in doing a smaller task, right? So on one side, there are large language models. One side, there are small language models for specific tasks. All right. So I talked about, right? If you want to leverage this, prompt engineering is a key skill, right? Prompt engineers would be the next most demanding skills going to be in the future. And it's the way, how are you going to communicate to these models and get the response you wanted? Right? So you need to have those communication skills. You need to understand the various parameters that you need to define while communication. So right now I just explained you, right? What I did, I just gave a single instruction. So the response was also very generic, but I want a specific expected outcome. I need to give a proper input, right? So there are multiple elements to the prompt that we are giving to these models. Start with a specific goal. Right now what I did, I just gave them the goal. I did not give them any context. I did not give them any context in which context the response should be generated. I did not set the expectation, so they use whatever they could use, and I did not provided a conversation to follow up or to fine tune my response. But ideally, when you are communicating, you should provide all these elements in your prompt, right? Here an example. Suppose, first of all, tell the model what you are expecting. So we are expecting you are a helpful assistant. That means you need to help us. All right. Summarize the key consideration for adopting Copilot. Describe in this document. So what are we doing? We have started with a specific goal, summarize, right? We have asked the model to summarize, right? Now we are providing them the source to the ground, the response described in this document. We are providing a document that your answer should be in line with this document, right? To who? Add a context. For a corporate executive, we added a context into the prompt, right? Format the summary as no more than 6 bullet points with a professional tone. That means we have set the clear expectation. We want you to generate no more than 6 bullet points, right? And follow up conversation. Then once you get the response, you can ask more questions. on top of it, right? So every time you get a response and you ask a new question, your history of the past messages is being sent through the model along with your message. So the model knows the context. That's how you are able to communicate. It's not stateless, right? It's stateful. Whatever you have communicated in past, it captures those messages so that model knows that in which context you are talking about, right? So prompt engineering is again going to be the very important skill in the future and very highly paid skill as well, right? Now, AI agents, right? The future belongs to AI agents, right? And as I said, recently we had generative AI and all those things. Now, AI agents, right? Within few years, everyone wants to have AI agents. And we have seen in the beginning, like Mark Zuckerberg, he mentioned by 2030, there will be more AI agents in the world than humans, right? So, what is AI agents? AI agents are assistants, right? Which can do much more, right? For example, let's take an example of flight booking. You want to book a flight, you go to the agent, you give him money, and you ask them, these are the dates available, you go and book the tickets, right? So, our AI agents can do multiple tasks. They can maintain a session and they can do multiple tasks, right? When they know they are given a goal, and to achieve that goal they will be doing a lot of tasks by themselves, right? So you give them your banking details and you give them a task. I want to book the flight tickets between this to this, and you mention that flight tickets should not be higher than this and all. It should not be like multi-stop like that. And then it would be able to get the best as per your requirement, and then make a flight booking, get the invoice and share it in your email, and generate the boarding cards and everything. It can be done, right? So very soon we will see the companies, they would be integrating the co-pilots within our work machines, wherein you can write emails, it can monitor your emails, it can respond to the customers. They are small AI agents which would be working on your behalf to make us more productive, right? So agentic AI is going to be very popular in the future, and we need to definitely learn how to create AI agents, right? I would keep a separate session on specifically talking about how can we build our own AI agent. It's not that tough. It's very simple, but yes, this is going to be the next great thing in the future. And already a lot of agents have already been built, which are doing our day-to-day jobs. All right. So good things always comes with some risk, right? So AI also has some challenges and risk associated with it, like bias, the training data, type of the data that you have leveraged to train the model. If it has biases, then your outcome can also contain biases. For example, you have trained a model to approve the loans, but that the data has 90% data for the males and 10% of the data for the females. It is highly likely that the model will approve more loans for the males than females, because the percent of the female data is only 10%. So out of 10 approvals, 9 will be men, 1 will be female. Those kind of biases can happen if your training data is biased. So we need to make sure that our data is diverse and it does not have the bias. Errors may cause harm. Self-driving cars, what if the system fails? It may hurt, right? So there is a risk associated with it. Data could be exposed. You have given your banking information to an AI agent, somebody hacked it. Your data, banking information can be exposed. Solution may not work for everyone, right? So you have derived a solution, but that solution is not there for blind people because they cannot see, they cannot leverage it. It could happen, right? User must trust the system. People are not trusting the system. It will take some time for the people to trust, to share their confidential information to the agents, right? So you must have that reliability in your solution that the user is capable of trusting. And who is liable for AI driven decisions? Whatever is robot is doing, somebody has to take accountability, right? So those are again the risks. Somebody has to take the accountability. If something bad has been done, somebody has to be accountable for this. Why your AI solution has failed or has done this action, right? So we need to take the responsibility of the decisions made by AI. All right. So what do you think? Will robots replace humans' jobs by 2030? Yes or no? What do you think? Well, there are two types of people. All right. There are one side of people are very ignorant. Okay, AI will not do anything. It is just a hype, and within few years, it would just settle down. And they are in the relaxed mode. On another side, there are people who are in panic mode. Oh my God, AI is going to take my job, right? So on which side we should fall? Whether should be ignorant about it, we should not care, or we should be in panic. Well, in my opinion, we should take a intermediate way, wherein we learn to use these AI assistants as our help, right? We should learn to use the systems which make us highly productive, which are going to help us in our day-to-day tasks. So we should treat them as our friends. We should treat our AI solutions as our friends, and let's leverage them to make us more productive. All right. Now, how should we learn AI in 2025? What should be the roadmap? There are various things, right? You need not to get distracted. Focus on the role. Which role is the most suitable for you? Whether you would like to be a data scientist, ML engineer, or AI engineer. These are the three top roles that are going to be there. Data scientist, if you love to play with the data, because these are the people who play with the data, who generate insights from the data, they are data people. They love to play with the data, right? Tables, SQLs, and all of that. If you have interest in that, go ahead and choose data scientist stream. If you are the person who loves to deal with the algorithms, probabilities, statistics, and all those things, probably ML engineer would be the right choice for you, right? These are the people who train the models, who evaluate the models, and make sure your model is generating the right output. A lot of probability mathematical skills are required for this. All right. Once the model is trained, all right. So data scientist prepares data for training, ML engineer trains the data, and now you have the models. AI engineers are the one who leverage those capabilities and build application on top of it, right? So like all of us, majority of us will fall under AI engineer, wherein we are going to leverage AI to make our life more productive, to generate, to develop those applications which are much more fast and making our life easier, right? So you need to choose a role path, and accordingly we can take a path. Majority of us will fall under AI engineer, right? So if you want to be an AI engineer, we need to get familiar with these skills. So choose a cloud platform. Which cloud platform you would like to go ahead? Right now, I would say one of the most mature platform is Azure. AWS is also coming up, right? And Google has also started doing those stuff, right? And we definitely need Python, because the whole AI world is works. Python is one of the most preferred language to get along, and these all are the services that we need to be equipped with in our day-to-day life to generate those solutions, because they all play hand in hand, right? One of the most in-demand program that Mentorbaba provides is Microsoft Certified AI Professional Program, wherein you will learn all this AI services on Microsoft Azure, and not only learn, you will do a lot of projects as well. Mentorbaba is a global leading training provider in the field of AI, cloud, and DevOps. They have a program which is called Microsoft Certified AI Professional Program, wherein you will learn about all the AI services, including Python, Microsoft Azure, Azure ML Studio, Vision services, NLP services, document intelligence, generative AI, and you will also learn how to build agents, right? The program covers 50 plus hands-on labs and 6 plus real world projects to automate various industries, use cases, and workflow. If you would like to know more about this program, probably you would like to visit the website. And if you go to mentorbaba.com, and here you can find their master programs. All right. So if you want to learn AI on AWS, or you want to learn DevOps, AI DevOps, and Microsoft AI professional program, and if you click on this, and here you will get to know all the information about your program. You can download this brochure and go through this. What are the various services will be covered? At the end, you will be able to take up Azure AI 900 and Azure AI 102 certification, right? So these are two certification that you would be able to acquire after completing this program. And we understand our responsibility. Mentor Baba believes that it's everyone's right to get the quality education. So we have special scholarship programs for the students. So if you are a student and if you have some financial constraints, get back to Mentor Baba and they would be happy to help All right. So do you have any question?
Uh, yes, I do have a question. So, the initial part, I think you demonstrated Azure Studio. It had computer vision applications and NLP applications and language and video applications, picture. So, in practice, when we are implementing a production project, so do we take help of that Azure platform and directly even it has the capability to deploy the solution on the cloud? Is that how it is used, or what is the process in a production project?
Right. I'm glad that you asked this question, Vivek. May I ask your background, Vivek?
Yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur. I'm into IT services, but we are moving towards the AI services also. So I'm learning AI these days.
Yes, Azure has those services which you can directly use in production in the Azure platform itself.
Okay, okay.
The question that I got, where will we do the hands-on? Do you provide any AI environment for the hands-on? Yes, everyone will learn to create their environment from scratch on Microsoft Azure. All the labs would be on Microsoft Azure, wherein you will implement your case studies and projects, right? And you will learn how you actually need to do the things on production, right? So it would be similar environment which you would be leveraging during the training. All right, so I got one more questions. What are the other AI courses can I take up? So as I said, you can take all the AI courses that we have: AI on Azure, AI on AWS, AI on Google. You can take generative AI courses, ChatGPT courses, and you can also take prompt engineering. So we have all these courses that you may take up. So I have got one more questions. Would there be any support for the hands-on? So yes, there you will get full support. You will get on-call support, email support, WhatsApp support. We have a separate technical support team who would be helping you with the projects and hands-on, and you will be assigned an assistant mentor. So in case if you're stuck with something, they will take the live sessions to fix your doubts. Right. So we have a five-star rated customer support, and that would be working with you throughout your journey. I've got one more questions. Do you guys help the job assistance? Yes, we do have a program wherein we will help our associates with the job assistance, and we will help you with your resume building, your LinkedIn portfolio building, optimizing your LinkedIn profile, right? Your projects, right? How do we need to approach to recruiters? We will help you with the mock interviews, interview questions. We will help you with the profile referrals, right? We will help you so you can ask for referrals from our mentors. So, and we will also help you because we have a network with the consultancies. We will also help you with marketing your profile and we'll work with you to get the job. So, all those supports you would be able to take up. All right. So, I hope I answered all of your questions. And if you want to join our future events, right? You can directly go to our website, mentorbaba.com. And then if you scroll down in the event section, you should be able to see all the webinars, right? Free events. And you just go ahead and just click on this and register for the events, right? There you go. All right, guys. So I hope I answered all your questions. In case there are no questions, then thank you so much for joining today's session. And please do like, follow, and subscribe. And please stay tuned to us on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and WhatsApp community. I look forward to seeing you in one of our next sessions. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.